Hello everyone, this is the Masked Crusader, and I'm doing a another video on mushroom growing. Now, I had a member of YouTube ask me if light affected how mushrooms grow, and I do not know the answer. So I figured I'd set up a simple test to figure it out. Sorry, I had to change my render distance. So I'm on my Ark. I'm in the process of building Noah's Ark. I'm on my build server. But inside the Ark, we'll go inside. I've tested this. I built this to figure out how much light a block of glowstone gives off. And if we consider it goes down one step, every block, as I have on chunky graphics, chunky lighting, not smooth lighting, we can say that the glowstone gives off 15. That means this one gives off 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then the rest is 0 and pitch dark. So we have 14 different levels of lighting plus outdoor lighting to test our mushroom growing in. So what I've done is I built this place over here, which has 15 sets of rooms. Like, this is light level 14, and when I switch the switch, all this glowstone drops one, so that this bottom layer is lit to 14. And same with this one. And then this one's 13. It doesn't have piston, so it's not going to drop down. All the way down to the far end, which is light level 0, which you can see over here in this corner. There is no light. There is a glowstone root ceiling, but as it comes down the wall, the light disappears. And you'll see that the doorways give light as well. So I've got a thing to figure that out. Let's keep it daytime for now. So what I've done is I've rigged up this switch right here, which if I hit it, puts blocks in front of each doorway so that no light gets in, so that we can go into, let's go back down to that far end one, room 0. We can snap in here and we can see that it is truly 0, even though there is glowstone up there. So that was a lot of words to say that I've built a growing test area that should give me enough growing time and everything to test this out. So we'll pop this open. And I want to tell you something. Mushrooms do not grow in sunlight, but you can plant them in sunlight if they're planted at least 2 apart. If I plant one in the middle of all those, it's good, but if I plant one next to, they pop off. So you can store mushrooms in direct sunlight, in full sun, but you cannot have them you cannot plant them next to each other. They just pop off. That also goes for if they're in complete darkness and you expose them, like if you have a piston ceiling and you open it up, if they're right next to each other, they will pop off. At least that's what my tests have shown. So I have full sun, and I'm going to plant 2 red, and we'll go onto the other side. I can just dig a hole here and plant 2 brown. Now I'm going to do that in every single one of these rooms on the way down, and then we will flip the switch, close all the rooms, and I'll come back. So I'll be back. Alright, what I've done is in every single one of these rooms I've planted, each room has 2 chambers, one on the left, one on the right, so that the growing fields don't interrupt each other. And I've planted 2 red in one trough and 2 brown in the next trough, all the way down into my light 0 room. Oh, and they continued because I stacked them. Whatever. Cool, floating mushrooms. So, they're all planted. They all planted almost at exactly the same time. So, let's go ahead and flip this switch, and that closes off all the rooms. And we will let these cook. We will just let them go, and I will come back in 24 hours time. I will stay in game, so I will go park myself on top of the building, and I will wait here in game for 24 hours, and then I will come back and we will see how much each room has grown, and that way we can find out the best level of lighting to grow mushrooms in. Whichever room has the most mushrooms, I'll just chop the roof off of all these buildings and probably, well, I'll figure it out. But we'll find out which room has the most mushrooms in it. So, see you in 24 hours. All right, everyone, welcome back. We're going to check on the results of our mushroom growing experiment and see how well everything grew. I'm actually starting out in my ark, building an ark with biblical proportions, literally. It's kind of cool. I'll save that for another video. But I already went over here and I already looked at what happens with mushroom growing, and we'll get to the mushroom growing results in just a bit. But if we come over here, I built a tower so I could watch it, but I didn't really need to because I didn't videotape that. So I've got my rooms over here, each one that grew mushrooms for actually about 36 hours. It wasn't 24 like I had promised. So let's go flip the switch and go check out the rooms. We're not going to count them here. I've already counted them up and tallied the results, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But hello, piggies. Can you move, please? Thank you. So over here, all right. Let's flip the switch. First of all, let's go into here. Oh, I'm chunking out. There we go. So in full sun, they don't grow. I guess that makes sense. They don't grow in full sun. They just sit there with nothing. Also, in these rooms where the pistons came down, and it was very bright. If you've seen my other video, you know that pistons don't necessarily bother these things. But in level 14 light, if the piston moves, it pops them off. So only 2 remained in there. We planted 2, and the pistons, it had to have been due to the light because I have pistons in my other growing one. So light level 14 causes them to pop off when they change. Light level 13, there's only 2 in there, and there's only 2 in there. So they don't grow in light level 13 either. Everything else, they grew. We've got some growing in 12, more growing in 12, and a chunk error back there, but that's okay. The world that hasn't loaded perfectly. If I go back here, it'll load. I can use this. Make this all load. Alright, so light level 0, they grew. We'll go outside again. Light level 0, they grew. You can see that they grew in light level 0. Not quite as well, but whatever. 1, they grew. Light level 2, they grew. Light level 3, they grew. They all grew. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can get out my wand. I can chop the top off of these buildings so you can see how well they grew. And we'll see what happens actually when you chop the top off. So we'll mark it there, and we will go over here. I love World Edit. It's a great tool. So we'll mark the other wand there. Expand 10 up. 10. Now let's go 20 up. And then let's go over here, and we will look down upon our creation, and we will go and there's our wall. So we can come over here and we can walk along this edge, and you can see that they all grew really well. I'm glad they didn't pop off for this, but they grew. I'm using that word a lot. It's starting to sound funny. Except for down here, light level 13, 14 in full sun, they didn't grow. One thing that was interesting is brown mushrooms grow better than red mushrooms. On every room, there were more brown mushrooms than red mushrooms. We'll talk about this room in a minute. But for every light level under level 12, mushrooms were able to expand and grow. So now we'll get to the results. All right. Here are the results for growing mushrooms in different light levels. So on this slide, you'll see that everything below light level 12, including light level 12, grew. We had red mushrooms and brown mushrooms grow in every single one of the rooms under light level 12. Light level 13 and light level 14 didn't yield anything. They just left what I planted alone. And level 14 actually popped off the mushrooms when I lifted the grate. So, if you want to grow mushrooms, grow them in anything under light level 12. Now, if we look at which room yielded the most growth, we'll see that brown mushrooms grew the best in light level 7. There were 35 grown in light level 7, whereas in light level 10 was the next highest with 30 even, and then they all fluctuated in between. So light level 7 looks pretty good. Light level 7 also looked really good for red. It was the best grown for red. And total yield was still light level 7. So according to my test, light level 7 was the best. But as you can see from this slide right here, that any light level below light level 12 will yield a good mushroom crop. Now light level 7 also has a problem because mobs can spawn in light level 7. They can't in 8, but they can in 7. So if you want to keep your building rooms clean, you can either build the growing room with the droppable ceiling like I showed in one of my last videos, or just choose something higher than light level 8. But apparently the algorithm for growing mushrooms works for anything under light level 12. So thanks for watching. This is Master Crusader signing off, and if there's anything else you want me to record or any other things you'd like to see, please leave them in the comments below and I will record new videos for you. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.